What was Sir Alex like when you met him, when you signed for Manchester United, and also what was your relationship like with him?
Very, very good. I always considered Sir Alex as my second father at that time, because I arrived when I was 17. I was living in a family in Manchester the first year until I was 18. But I went without my family, without my friends. I was alone, new language, new country, new culture. So for me, it was tough at the start. Then it helped me a lot, that period, because it makes you strong and very focused on football. But at that time, it was pretty tough. And Sir Alex helped me a lot to really manage that.
You went from Sir Alex to Pep Guardiola. I'm not going to ask you to choose who's better, because, of course, the right answer is Sir Alex. But what do you think it is? Listen, we know Pep Guardiola is a bit of a superstar, a bit of a genius. We know that. And everywhere he's gone, he's had ridiculous success. Can you put your finger on what makes Pep so special?
Because he's so obsessed on football, and he can stay one day in a room just focus on the opposite team and what is his weakness and what is his strong things, and when he has to attack, what he has to do, when the team has to defend, the same. And then to the player, it gives you the right information for you to perform very, very well. Also, his speech is very good. He knows when he has to motivate you with which speech at the right time. And this is very important for the player, because at the end of the day, every year you need to have that motivation to keep going and keep winning. And he does it very well.
Are their styles similar at all, or completely different? Because you've got a new age manager in Pep, and of course Sir Alex goes back to Manchester United from the mid-80s or late 80s. Are their styles similar, or are they completely different?
At that time, it was very different, but not the style. It was more of the position of Pep in Barcelona and Sir Alex in Manchester United. Obviously, it was the last years of Sir Alex and the first years of Pep. Pep didn't have the power that Sir Alex had in Manchester United. Sir Alex was more like a manager, than just a coach. Pep Guardiola was just a coach in Barcelona. So Sir Alex, just to put you an example, maybe some trainings he was not even there in the pitch. It was Carlos Queiroz at the time, and he was more focused on the game day, the speech, and putting the team. These kind of things. Pep Guardiola, when he arrived, obviously he was very young and he wanted to really control everything, and his role was different than Sir Alex. They had similarities with the speech, because both of them, they are truly motivators, and they know how to really engage the team and so they can perform. But also related to tactics, I would say that both were brilliant, knowing exactly what the team needs in order to attack and defend in every game, because the situations are different, and they knew how to do it.
If the philosophy is the one that you've been learning from since you are very young, also help. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. That when I arrived here, new coach, Barcelona wasn't doing well. I remember Ronaldinho left at the time, Deco left, Eto'o was nearly to leave. At the end, he didn't leave. So I arrived, Sergio Busquets was coming from the La Masia, Pedro was coming from La Masia, Iniesta, Xavi, Messi. Guardiola gave them a lot of confidence and trust on them. And the team all of a sudden started to grow. We started not very good the first month of the competition, but then all of a sudden we started to win everything, and we won the treble. I mean, winning in Rome against you in the final, and playing a very good football. In just 12 months, a career can change a lot, and a club also can change a lot, because as I said, Barcelona, the season before was very poor.
I'd never seen centre-backs, though, split so deep.
Yeah.
Had you been doing that since La Masia?
We do this in La Masia. It's part of the philosophy that Johan Cruyff brought to the club, in the 90s. To do it in the first team as a professional is much more difficult, and it depends on the coach. The coach has to trust a lot the centre-backs and has to trust a lot the whole philosophy of we start playing from the back, from the keeper, and we don't lose the ball. We don't throw the ball long. We start and we do short passes, and from there we build the play. No? And every time you do it, it's better and better and better. All of a sudden, we felt that it was quite easy to do something that it seems very difficult from outside if you don't train every day,
In terms of Pep Guardiola, what's the one thing you take from the time that you spent with him?
He's very clever, and he understands the game as no one I've seen before. He gives you all the tools to go to the game and be ready and for any kind of situation. He studies very well the other team. And from that, he starts to tell you, you have to do this in this situation, in that situation. So you feel very confident that you will be ready for the game, no matter the challenge, no matter how difficult it will be, the striker you have to mark or the center back you will have to face. And this is all because of him. He knows how to prepare the games. Mentally, he's very good. His speeches are very emotional, so it makes you feel...
What kind of emotional things before the games?
No, related, he touched your heart, related to, I don't know, depending on the game, if there is, I don't know, I remember that time Barcelona versus Madrid, there were different episodes where the rivalry is very big with Mourinho, when Mourinho was the coach of Madrid. And I remember that talking, he used the right word every time to make you feel that you have in front of you a very strong challenge, but an opportunity to prove yourself and to prove to the world that we are here and that we can beat them. And at that time, every time we had to face Real Madrid was a tough one.
What was the rivalry like between him and Jose Mourinho? Because you feel that in the dressing room. It was like, obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. You could feel it when the game was coming.
No. Guardiola, Mourinho was here in Spain. It was very tough. I remember Mourinho arrived to Madrid winning the treble with Inter Milan.
Yeah.
And he was like the guy that will save Madrid and that will make the team win against us, because we were winning everything at the time. And I remember that the first time Mourinho came to Camp Nou, he lost 5-0 against us in Barcelona. And it was a shock of reality of, whoa, these guys are going hard. But it's true that Mourinho in the press conference, every time, he was every day, you know how he is, his style. And I think that Guardiola, at some point, it was too much. I mean, it was more important sometimes what happened out of the pitch than what was happening on the pitch, no? And I remember that at the end of the day, Guardiola left because at some point, I mean, Mourinho, that time Madrid won the league that year, and all of a sudden he decided to leave for so many reasons, but I'm sure that part of it was because with Mourinho, it was too much. I mean, every day in the press, I don't think so. I remember semi-final of the Champions League in Bernabeu, he did an amazing press conference, but it wasn't about football, and he enjoys talking about what's happening on the pitch. And here there was a moment where the press was focusing on what was happening outside of the pitch.
So you think it almost in some ways destroyed his feeling for football and how he sees football?
At that time, for sure. Since he arrived, he tried to do that. He knew that on the pitch they were weaker than us. We had a better team for sure. Even the relationship between players. I remember when we were going to the national team after those games, and it was tough because Mourinho sometimes...
He creates that.
Yeah, he goes to the mind of the player and he tells you, oh, this guy hates you, then you believe that he hates you, and then he goes to the dressing room. We were in the dressing room of the national team, and I was going to Iker Casillas, hey Iker, and the guy didn't talk to me, what's happening? And it's because at that time I didn't know, but then I realized that it was because the coach really know how to go to their minds and change the whole, what he was thinking about.
But you were successful with Spain at the time, you were winning championships.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the Euro 2012, we won it in the worst moment of the rivalry between Barcelona and Madrid.
Yeah.
But we really need to do an exercise between Barcelona players and Madrid players to sit down and say, listen, we have to play together.
So you sat down together?
At some point we did that, yeah. I remember Xavi and Iker from Barcelona and from Madrid, they were very close friends, but even them, that they were very close friends, at some point they stopped talking because of that rivalry, which it seems stupid right now, but it happened. I remember that they sit down and they started to create another, links again on trying to become a good dressing room, at least to win the title. And we won it. So, but it was difficult times at that moment.
Great players you've played with. Top of the list, I think it's fair to say, has to be Lionel Messi. I say top of the list because Ronaldo's on that list as well. But do you think that Messi is the greatest player you've ever played with?
Yeah, for sure. He's the greatest player in the history of the game. So, for sure.
What was he like on a day-to-day basis? He's a good pal of yours, right?
Yeah, the thing with Leo is that when he arrived at the club, he was 13. I was 13 also, so we are the same age, and we played together for 4 or 5 years, I think, in the youth academy. And when he arrived, he was like very small, very thin, like crazy small. And when we saw him first, we said, "Whoa, this guy! I mean, if we touch him, we will destroy him. So be careful." And he started first training like taking the ball like he does. It seems that it's impossible the ball to go out of the foot because he's always there. Impossible to tackle him. And after that day, we said, "Wow, what is this?" So he's starting to become like very important in the youth academy, and we share very good time there. Then I left to Manchester United for first Cesc Fabregas left because in the same generation, it's incredible, but we had Messi, Cesc Fabregas, and myself. So imagine that team playing against, I don't know, teams in Barcelona. I mean, it was 30-0, 35-0. It was boring.
Yeah.
And then Cesc Fabregas.
Sorry, I love the way you say it was boring. For them, it's the end of the world. But.
So Cesc Fabregas left to Arsenal when he was 16. Then I left when I was 17 to Manchester United. Messi stayed. And then I came back when I was 21, and then Cesc Fabregas came back when, I don't know which age, I think it was 24 or 25.
Can I just ask, sorry, I know we've got a question here, but just quickly, you left and Cesc left. Was there ever the chance that Messi would have left to another club?
I don't think so. At that time, Messi was very attached to Barcelona and he really enjoyed playing there. I'm sure there was different interest from a lot of clubs, but I don't think there was a risk of Messi leaving at that time.
Okay. I've always wondered this because in that period there, it was Messi, Ronaldo. Obviously, when he went to Real Madrid for the goals and the awards, did Messi ever pay much attention to what Ronaldo was doing? Like, did he ever run off the pitch after the game? Has Ronaldo scored?
No, it wasn't that type of guy. He was a very team focused, although he was getting all the, first page in all the newspapers and radios, etc., and TV. At the end of the day, he was very close with all of us, and he was just focused on winning titles like Champions League, and these kind of things. At the end of the day, because he was the best then, he was winning the Ballon d'Or, but it wasn't something that he was a priority for him.
Of course.
You played for a brief time with Ronaldo as well.
Yeah, I played in Manchester United 3 years with Ronaldo.
What could you see that he had the talent that you saw in Messi at that age?
The thing of Ronaldo is that he had a career. He started as a winger at Manchester United, that he was very skillful. But then when he arrived to Madrid, he started to become like a goal scorer, like crazy, like a 9, like a pure 9. And he developed his game to that style of game. And at Manchester United, when I was playing with him, he loved to do tricks and it was very skillful. But he changed when he arrived to Real Madrid, and I assume that he realized that at the end of the day, if you want to be the best, you have to score a lot of goals. And he said, "Listen, I really like to be a right wing and do skills, but what I really want to do is scoring goals." And then he started to play as 9 in Real Madrid, and he changed the way he plays. But I remember he was very young in Manchester United when I played with him. He wasn't speaking English at that time, so he speak Portuguese, which is similar to Spanish, and this is why we became like very close. And I had so much fun at the time with Cristiano.
When you look at someone like Rio Ferdinand, who for me is the greatest defender in Premier League history, how highly do you rate him? And you watching him as you're doing your education for Manchester United, what influence did he have on you?
A lot, because I think that obviously him with the English style, because in Premier League, you play a little bit different than in Spain, but we were very similar the way we play. And also, in terms of physically, we were very similar. He was stronger, but we wanted to play the ball. The Premier League, you don't play as much as in Barcelona. In Barcelona, we took a lot of risk, but we were very similar playing. And for me, when I arrived there, he was the guy to really see what he's doing, to learn from him. He gave a lot of advice at that time that was very good for me. I consider him also. Some people, they say John Terry. For me, Rio was the best of all time in the Premier League, at least from what I saw. Because sometimes what happened off the pitch seems that puts you, people consider you a little bit less because you have different interests outside of the pitch, etc. And Rio is this style of guy like I am in Spain, but then on the pitch he was like incredible. He performed always at a very high level and was a great example. that when I started in the national team, I played with Puyol, and Sergio Ramos was playing in the right back. And with Puyol, I felt that we were, the best couple at the time. We played together at Barca, and then in the national team, it's true that Puyol started to have injuries in the knee, and then he couldn't play anymore. And then Sergio came to play centre back with me. And really, I think that we did we were a very good couple playing in the centre defense of the national team. And I think that we brought Spain to win on 2012. It's very incredible to think about it, but Spain at that time, the World Cup on 2010, if you see the whole team, you can say it's a very offensive team because all the players that I mentioned to you in the midfield, but then we had Fernando Torres, we had Villa, the strikers were very cool also. But all the games that we had from round 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, and final of those of the World Cup, those 4 games, we finished 1-0. So the results, it's that because defensively we did a very good job also.